What's up, everybody?
What's
How
good?
you doing,
What's
Caleb?
good? Doing good, Andrew. Glad we're back together again. Finally, it's been a
I
minute.
know, man. It has been a minute. How was your holidays?
It was super good. It was super good. Ate a ton of good food. Probably put on about 5 to 10 pounds of water weight, and now gotta get back in the gym before the next big holiday start. So we'll see.
There you go. There you go. All right, man. Well, it's week 13 of fantasy football season. Even though we got the break, it felt like we got a good little refresher there, spent some family time. Fantasy football is not done. We still have a couple weeks. Playoffs are 2 weeks away for most leagues. And then after that, we got 2 to 3 weeks of let's go get this championship, baby. So I think today what we're gonna do is we're gonna help some people with these start sit decisions. We're in the crunch time now, and we got to get ready to start winning championships. So hopefully we can help some people out today.
No, 100%. Yeah, it's crunch time. If you're in the playoff contention, you're either pushing towards the playoffs, or if you're at the top, man, we gotta make sure that you stay at the top. There's only two options here: win or go home.
Yep, exactly. All right, man. Well, I see we got a couple of people already in the chat, so let's just start answering questions, man.
Jump in.
We got Mark here. He says pick two PPR: Brees, Mostert, Charbonnet, or I could start all three and bench either Waddle or Dell.
So I'm definitely starting Brees and Mostert for sure. I think Charbonnet, I think, is looking a lot more exciting. I put out my running back rankings today, and still I saw Kenneth Walker after I made the video, like he's still doubtful. So looking like Charbonnet is going to play, but I'm probably playing Brees, Mostert, and then I'm probably starting Tank Dell. You got to ride with the hot hand at this point.
Yeah, is that what you're doing? I think for me, I'm not going to start Charbonnet. It's still a tough matchup, even though Walker's going to be out. It just sucks. We've been waiting for Zach Charbonnet to get some run, and the stretch that he gets it is San Francisco, Dallas, San Francisco, Philly. Like it's like with the worst run you could have as a running back. So, I'm not going to be starting him. I think Brees Mostert, I definitely am starting both those guys, and then it's tough for me to pass on Waddle this week. I know Dell has the hot hand, but Waddle gets that Washington Commanders secondary, and they've been so soft against wide receivers. That's kind of what I want to do. But I think if you're going Dell, I'm going Waddle. We both at least agree on Brees and Mostert.
Yeah, no, 100%. Mark, appreciate you being here, tuning in. So wait, so just to be clear, he could start all three, but I think he would either have to bench Waddle or Dell if he started Charbonnet. So I guess he's still starting Waddle and Dell with Mostert and Brees.
Oh,
So I
no,
think we're
no
good.
matter what, he's going to start both of them.
I believe so. I think that's the
Oh,
question.
then we're good.
So I
We're
think
good.
we're
Yeah,
good.
because he said pick two. So yeah, Brees and Mostert.
Boom. Let's go.
Okay. Carmen says, let's go trade deadlines tonight. Do I trade Mostert and Garrett Wilson for Diggs? Non-PPR 12 team. I have JT, Montgomery, Pollard, Mostert. Wide receivers are Keenan, Puka, Ridley, Garrett Wilson, Deontay. 2 wide receivers and a flex is the format. So what do you think, man?
This is my thing. I wish I would have made a trade video if I knew people were still having trade deadlines weren't over. But this is a major dub if you can go get Diggs. I know him and Josh Allen were having some confrontations earlier in the season, and now it seems like it's not working out. But for me, like Garrett Wilson, you're still attached to Zach Wilson. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, cool. Maybe he comes back in 3 weeks. Like that's still maybe. And then Raheem Mostert and Devon's coming back. So it's going to be more of a split backfield. So for me, I want Diggs in this trade.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the best player. I think the only thing, it's a little bit closer than I would normally say, just because it's not PPR. It's just a standard league, so that does make it a little bit closer because I feel like Diggs has some appeal in those PPR leagues. But I do still lean Diggs because he is the best player in this deal.
And I also understand too, with JT being out, you might be a little bit nervous about you're riding Monty and Pollard out each and every week, and you're losing Mostert in the deal. So I would understand that too, being a slight concern, but still give me Diggs.
Yeah, if you do, you're gonna move one of those guys. You're gonna have an extra roster spot. Pick up like a handcuff running back, like you could pick up Rico Dowdle and secure your Pollard share. That way you don't have to worry about if he goes down to injury, not having a running back. You'll at least have Dowdle locked up already.
100%.
Wolf says, I have Brees, Monty, and Hill. All are questionable, and I'm kind of worrying. Should I be concerned?
So Brees, it seemed like he picked up something late, like in this week. So I'm really not concerned about Brees. Monty, whatever. They're just giving him goal line carries, so I'm not that worried about Monty and Hill. I mean, I haven't really seen what Hill's dealing with, so
I'm not worried about anybody yet. If it comes Friday and stuff is still, lingering and guys are not playing a full practice, maybe you start getting worried. But I usually don't care about injuries or get worried about injuries until like Friday. Carmen says he wants Ridley instead of Garrett Wilson in my question. So, would you trade Ridley instead of Garrett Wilson? I would much rather move Garrett Wilson instead of Ridley, but does that change your opinion on that deal, Caleb?
No, I mean, especially with Carmen, you still have Keenan and Puka. Like, this is your wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 that you're trading away. You still have Deontay, who's really in the same range as those guys. So give me Diggs still.
Yeah. Mark says pick 2 PPR. Oh, we already answered this one.
Yep.
Mark,
Appreciate
this
you,
was
Mark.
we said Brees and Mostert.
Yep.
Wolf says, is Cup startable this week over guys like Monty, Brees, and Nico Collins for my lineup? Oh man, Cooper Cup's been tough.
This is tough. And there's been a ton of people that have been asking the same question in the comments. And for me, I'm still riding the Cup train as much as the Cup train has been derailed the last few weeks. And now there's, he's got both angles essentially injured, and Puka's not been playing hot. And you're just like, man, do I just keep rolling him out? I just think this offense, they're going to have to, especially this week, like they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. So I'm still starting Cup. I mean, I would probably start Monty and Brees over Cup, but I'm for sure starting Cup over Nico still.
I don't know, man. It's tough for me. I don't want to bench Cup because I don't like benching studs, but I mean, it just hasn't been good lately, and it doesn't look good right now. And Nico and CJ Stroud and those Texans, they've been hot, man. I'm not mad at you if you bench Cup this week. Honestly, I'm not mad at you. I think for me, it might be what I would suggest. I might suggest benching Cup. So I guess you'll have to decide on Caleb's take or mine on which advice you want to go, or maybe source out some other information too from some of these other fantasy people out here, because there's lots of good people out there. But I think right now, I think we can bench Cup.
It's just so hard. It's so hard to bench him, like especially with how he's been doing.
I know. All right, Wolfman says Jake Ferguson or Pat Freiermuth this week.
I'm going Jake Ferguson, even though I know I've been really high on Pat Freiermuth in the last few videos that I've done. I still have Jake Ferguson higher than Pat this week, but I'm glad that you have both. Both are going to be like top 8 tight ends for me rest of the season.
Yeah, I got them both back to back in my rankings this week. Ferguson gets the nod, just one spot ahead. Similar matchups. They're going against the 12th and the 11th ranked defenses against the tight end position. So it's very similar matchups, very similar players this week. I just lean Ferguson. He's been a little bit more involved in that offense. It's also a little bit easier to trust that Dallas offense than it is to trust that Steelers offense. But I did make a video probably 2 weeks back, and I did say that Pat Freiermuth is going to be a league winner down the stretch. The playoff schedules are great for Pat Freiermuth, so definitely keep Pat Freiermuth on this team. Oh my God, I didn't know you stream. Big fan of the content.
Shout out Recon. Appreciate you being here. Means
there you go. Mark says, appreciate y'all. Since Sharbo out of the question, pick 2, Waddle, Dell, or Puka.
I mean,
Waddle's for sure for me this week. He's the number 1 in this one for me.
Yeah. Do I go? Oh goodness, it's just so hard with Tank. I feel like you still got to go Tank. It's got to be Waddle and Tank then.
That's Puka. What I would do. I would,
even though I have Puka 2 spots below Tank. And I have Puka and Dell back to back.
All 3 of these guys are top 12 receivers for me this week. So, all good options. Get Real says injuries and bye weeks screwing me. Who should I start? A.T. Perry, Zay Jones, or Devontae Parker? I'm leaning A.T. Perry because Olave, Sheed, and Thomas are all hurt.
It's so hard because you always want to say oh, it doesn't matter. Like the wide receiver 4, he's the wide receiver 1 this week. So you're like, oh, he should get targets. But the Saints offense has been so abysmal. I'd rather just start Alvin Kamara. That's the only guy in this offense that I really want.
He's going to get 20 targets this week.
Yeah, 20 points PPR minimum because he's going to get 20 receptions. But I think if I did have to start someone, I would have to choose A.T. Perry. So I'm with you, Get Real. It's bad out in these streets for you, but we've been talking about him the last 2 stash videos I've talked. I think the potential's there. The thing that was a little bit upsetting is even though when Chris Olave went out last week, A.T. Perry, it's not like his target share really went up significantly. So I think that's my only concern. But at the same time, who else are they going to throw it to? It's him and Taysom Hill out there running routes.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's very similar take here. I would go A.T. Perry. I think Zay Jones is very close. And in fact, Zay Jones is probably a safe play if you wanted to just bank on some safe points. But A.T. Perry definitely has a higher ceiling, I think. Loved A.T. Perry in Dynasty drafts this year. Got a bunch of him on taxi squads, but unfortunately the play hasn't been good enough to elevate him off of any of these taxi squads. But I like A.T. Perry. I think he's a good player.
Yeah, it wasn't sadly like who was it 2 years ago? Was it Caldwell? What was his name? Caldwell? No. I'm trying to think of
Callaway.
Callaway. That was it.
Yeah,
The
Marquez Callaway. Now he's over
preseason
with Sean Payton in Denver.
the preseason darling. Dude looked like Randy
Yeah.
Moss in his prime and then did not do that.
Yeah.
The actual season.
It's all good. It's all good. Mark says, since I'm starting Ayuk this week against Philly's weak pass defense. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Ayuk is a great play this week. Ayuk's always a great play, I think, really.
Mark, you got too many good wide receivers on this team.
For real. Wolf says, I need a defense this week. Should I start Chargers, Chiefs, or Jags?
I think you go Chiefs versus Green Bay, but Jordan Love's been cooking. Jaden Reed's been going off. Chargers versus New England. It feels like that would be the matchup. The defense has just sucked. And we don't know. I just don't trust the Chargers defense at all. And then the Jags are going up against Cincinnati, which you'd feel like would be a good matchup. But honestly, Jake Browning did not look as bad as I thought he was going to look last week. I know when we did our live stream like 2 weeks ago, I was like essentially putting the Bengals like all weapons are off the table. And like, I know Jamar Chase didn't have a great week last week with only 10 fantasy points, but still, I think it's better than what I thought it was going to happen. So I'm still going with the Kansas City Chiefs here if it were me.
Yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs too. I think I'm just gonna go with Chiefs. That's pretty easy for me. Bigham says start 2: Bijan, Kyron, Brees, Monty.
Bijan, Kyron.
Bijan, Kyron for you. It's closer for me. I think I have a couple of these guys. I think I probably have 3 of these guys in my top 12 this week. Let me see. And it really probably would depend too, depending on if it's PPR. But I have Kyron as a top 8 back. Bijan is 11. Monty is 16. Brees is 17. So I'd be going with Kyron and Bijan.
I have Bijan as my RB2 this week, just for the record. Yep.
Okay, is this the week? Remember it was a while back, but I told you it was Christian McCaffrey and then Jahmyr Gibbs, and he did it. He ended up being a top 2 back on the week. I think he was the number 1 back on the week, right?
Yeah,
Jahmyr
you convinced me. I almost benched Jahmyr Gibbs this week because I had a team that had a bunch of good running backs, and you convinced me to start Jahmyr Gibbs, and he absolutely popped off. It was like the Thursday night game, I think.
It was. Yeah, and now you're making the call with Bijan, so let's go.
Yeah, I also have Jahmyr Gibbs as my RB4 this week, so he's still very much so pretty high in my rankings.
Gibbs is my 6th this week, so very high as well. Case Recon says 5 and 7, 7th place team, 12 team PPR. He has Fields, Stafford, Kamara, Jones, Mixon, Puka, Nico, DJ, Jay Jettas, likely Pitts, Waller. Trade deadlines tomorrow. Who do I move and who should I go for as a fair trade? So is there anything on this roster that's sticking out to you, Caleb, where you want to improve or you want to get rid of?
Yeah, I think your wide receivers are fine. So let's like hold off on the wide receivers. Really, when it looks to me like Kamara or holding Kamara, I'm a little bit worried about your RB2 situation, but it's really fine. Really, the biggest thing for me is likely should be fine as your tight end. I mean, it's not great. So if you could, of course, get an upgrade there, that'd be fine. So like if you could package likely and Pitts and go get, I don't know, Trey McBride, I feel like that might be a move. But I mean, trying to get one of these top 5 tight ends right now is almost impossible. Or like I said, trying to figure out this Field Stafford situation, your quarterback situation, I don't feel great about, even though Justin Fields has been pretty good for fantasy football here. And of course, he's getting back to health. So I would probably try to either package Fields and like Pitts and get an upgrade at quarterback, or do likely and Pitts to get an upgrade at tight end. Otherwise, I'm just going to be holding.
Yeah. I think for me too, the line is pretty good as is. I do want to kind of upgrade the tight end. I like likely, but I don't know how reliable likely is going to be down the stretch. Honestly, like if I could take Pitts and move him straight across for like a Jake Ferguson or move him straight across for like a Pat Freiermuth, I might do it. And you might get somebody in your league that just, likes the name Kyle Pitts, because it seems like that's what a lot of people like these days is just Kyle Pitts' name. And so, you get somebody that gives you Freiermuth in a piece maybe, or gives you Ferguson in a piece maybe for Pitts, just based off of name value. Maybe that's something you can do. But I definitely agree with Caleb there too. I think you can potentially explore an upgrade at your quarterback position. But for the most part, I think this whole roster is pretty good to go.
Yeah. Good luck, Recon. Appreciate you being here.
Yep. Mark says, appreciate y'all. Lineup is going to be Brees, Mostert, Ayuk, Dell, Waddle. Bench is Puka, Sharbo, Rice. I think
Good
that's
call.
the way
Yeah.
I would set it. Also with that team, who do I start this week? QB, 2 wide receiver, running back, tight end, and flex. Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
let's
So
set the lineup.
Fields for sure.
Okay.
Kamara, and then
Jay Jetta.
Mixon.
He's on bye next week. I'm too excited for Justin Jefferson.
No,
right
I
now
am too. I'm
back
too.
in the
That's
lineup.
honestly, if he can win this week, I feel really good about Recon's team. So yeah, we're gonna go Kamara and Mixon. Are you mixing over Jones?
Yes.
And then for wide receivers, I think you go Puka,
Nico.
and yeah, Nico. As much as it would be nice to have that DJ Field stack, but I guess if you have, does he have a flex spot?
I think that's Deontay Johnson.
Oh, I guess, yeah, you're right. You're right. I was thinking DJ Moore, but it's probably Deontay Johnson.
I think it's Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, so then we're easily going Puka and Nico. Yep.
Yeah, if it's DJ Moore, start him. If it's Deontay Johnson, start Nico.
Start Nico. And then in regards to tight end, I'd go Likely.
I go Likely as well. All right. So Frenzy says need 1 wide receiver and a flex. Metcalf, Pop Douglas, Josh Downs, Singletary.
I'm going Metcalf and Downs.
Me too. Sure says I crushed last week. I think if I win out, I will make the playoffs. Started Jaden Reed at wide receiver 3. It worked. Gonna start him again over Wilson, Hollywood, Taysom. Taysom has to bust this week. So would you start Jaden Reed over Garrett Wilson and Hollywood Brown?
I mean, he's riding a hot streak. He is. It's almost like the Amon St. Brown of last season. But I don't know if I can start him over Garrett Wilson this week. But I also understand riding the hot hand. Like I have him as my wide receiver 30, and I have Garrett Wilson as my wide receiver 25. So I mean, it's only 5 spots. So sure, it's not like end of the line. We're talking wide receiver 2 range anyway. So I would start Jaden Reed 100% over Hollywood at this point, as much as I've been hoping Hollywood would get it going, but it's hard because Jaden Reed's with a better quarterback. Of course, you'd rather have Jordan Love throwing you the ball than Zach Wilson, but I still think or not even Zach Wilson, whoever the backup.
I thought for a second you were talking about Kyler Murray, and I was like, I know you didn't just say Jordan Love is better than Kyler Murray.
But... Oh, no. I'm talking Garrett Wilson. Yeah, I'm not that dumb. Listen, Aaron, I ain't that dumb.
Well, I thought we just had a really hot take on hand, and I was ready to feed into it.
Okay. No. But no, I would probably still go with Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I Garrett Wilson is the highest in my rankings out of these guys. But yeah, I mean, if you want to ride the streak with Jaden Reed, I'm not mad at you either. But Garrett Wilson is the highest in my rankings. Matt says pick 2, PPR, Thielen, Reed, Rice, or Downs.
I feel
Downs
like
and Thielen for me.
Yeah, I'm going Thielen. And then I have Rice and Downs back to back, but I would still be going Downs. So I 100% agree with you there.
Yeah, I just like the matchup better for Downs. 25th against the wide receiver position, allowing 30 points per game. Compared to Rice, they're 10th against the wide receiver position, giving up 25. I know it's not a huge difference. A 5-point difference, 15 spots. It's pretty. I just like the matchup better for Downs.
I also think
I think he's more involved.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Downs is more involved, but Rice is more like that touchdown or bust type of play. And it's just, I would rather get Downs because if he gets a touchdown, it like booms his day. If he doesn't, he still has a very solid day. So I like some Downs.
Yeah. D player streamers,
like defense streams, like streamer defenses. D player streamers. I think it's like what are some streaming plays on defense for this week?
What do you think, Caleb?
The Falcons versus the Jets, I think would be one that's interesting. That they're not very well known. I think another one that could be. I think we talked about how we hated the Chargers, but I think whoever had the Chargers, like their defense has been getting absolutely bamboozled. So I think against the Patriots, that could be another interesting streaming option. But otherwise, it's kind of barren on the defensive landscape for me.
Yeah. I don't know who else. I guess maybe Miami or Jacksonville. Both of those, I like their matchups as well. But Seth says start Kyler or Russ.
Appreciate you being here, Seth. I'd be going Kyler.
I would be going Kyler as well. Tank said, or Sure says, Tank has been a godsend. Picked him up in week 2 and it paid off. Hell yeah.
Yep, sure.
Seth, never thought I'd be happy about trading Jay Jettas, but right after the injury, I traded him for Waddle and Flowers since I had weak receivers. I flipped Waddle and Madison and Laporta into Henry and Tank.
Wheeling and dealing, Seth. I hope you play Dynasty because that's like these are the type of moves that me and Andrew make all the time. But in redraft, that is nasty what you just did.
Yeah, I love the wheeling and dealing, man. I think if you're staying stagnant, you're getting left behind, and especially in redraft leagues because it's too easy to let 2-3 weeks go by, and in 2 to 3 weeks you might have fallen 3 or 4 spots in your rankings. So, yeah, I love the wheeling and dealing. Sure says, I got Zach Moss midseason as a handcuff, so I'm excited. Yeah, man. What do you think about this, Caleb? The Jonathan Taylor stuff. We've been waiting for JT to come back. He comes back, and now he's gone again. And there's a chance that he's not playing the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think
at least the fantasy football season.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like the 3 weeks, you're like, well, he can come back, but it's like they're kind of in playoff contention right now. And so if you're the Colts, you're probably like, we want him for the playoffs. You don't want to bring him back. And I think it's sad because I have a lot of JT shares that were looking good. My teams were looking great because I drafted JT late, and now all of a sudden I'm hosed again. And on all those teams, I didn't have Zach Moss because I was like, JT's going to steal all the work. And now if you do have Zach Moss and you've been holding on to him, congratulations, because he's about to be back end middling RB1 for the rest of the season. And I'm kind of depressed that I don't have more Zach Moss shares.
Yeah. I mean, I had Zach on I had a JT on a really competitive Dynasty team. It's going to suck seeing him go down. I'm going to need to rely on a Bijan second half breakout a little bit more than I want to, but we'll see, man. My running backs in that league were so nice. And I don't like building around running backs, but I just kind of flipped it and fixed the room this year. I traded for JT mid-season. Somebody was like sick and tired of waiting on JT to come back from injury. I gave him James Cook when he had a hot hand and a second-round pick and got JT, and then drafted Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson in the rookie draft. So the running back room like changed overnight, which I think you can do that in Dynasty on a running back room. You can change your running back rooms so quickly.
So I made in one of my leagues, sorry, I'll just on this JT topic, had a team of JT, Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Bijan, Mark Andrews. So like that was like my core, and Jamar Chase. So like that 1 week where Mark Andrews and Joe Burrow got hurt, and then this week with Jonathan Taylor, like my Dynasty team is just taking shots to the foot and knee all day long. So
it's getting down to the stretch, man. We're gonna get something. We're gonna win a championship somewhere. So let's see. Do I start Colts or Cowboys defense? Also, do I keep Reed on the roster as a stash or cut him for Rodgers? I would not be cutting Reed for Rodgers.
No, I'm starting you got to run the Cowboys. I mean, they're absolutely insane against Seattle. I mean, it does feel like it's a harder matchup than they've had the last few weeks, but still the Cowboys. Sucks. Yeah, the Cowboys, they're going to get a pick 6. It's going to get you at least 6 fantasy points. So yeah, I can do that. And then do I keep Reed on the roster?
I'm not picking up Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, no. I mean, he's going to be a sitting duck back there. If he does come back, yeah, I mean, to be fair,
I don't believe this. I do not think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing snaps of football in the next 3 to 5 weeks. I do not see it.
If he does, though, shout out to him. He'll just be a sitting duck back there. But to be fair, him on one leg is probably better than whatever the Jets have throwing the ball back there. So, I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, whatever, man. I think I have a whole theory on this, but we'll talk about it another day. Sure says, I'm going with Minshew over Browning for QB2. I would also go with Minshew. Seth, I now have Russ, Kyler, Bijan, Henry, White, Moore, Flowers, Dell, Downs, Ferg. And I know it's not a start-sit question, but would you guys roll with that wide receiver core for the playoffs or try to upgrade? Moore,
Flowers, Dell. I mean, I think more like, DJ Moore, Zay Flowers, Tank Dell, Josh Downs. I mean, it's like, listen, you're going to be doing wide receiver by committee,
but it's good.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think if you play the matchups right, you'll be 100% fine, Seth. And I think at this point, after what we've seen in this running back core, I do not want you to go in and being like, oh, like I have 2 good running backs. I'm going to trade Rachaad White and like Flowers to go upgrade. Like injuries are so prevalent right now. Like just hold the depth on this team. I like it.
Yeah. I I would. The only thing I would say you could trade Russ because you don't need to roster 2 quarterbacks, but Kyler still has a bye. So it's I mean, I think I'd sit as is.
Appreciate you, Seth.
Sure says he changed his mind. He's going Browning. Just feels like he has to show me more.
I mean, he is mobile, but listen, that arm is weak. I like Gardner Minshew. We know what he is, and with him and Zach Moss there in the backfield, I think they're going to be slinging the ball. So I'd go Gardner Minshew, but sure, you do what you want to do.
Hey, at the end of the day, it's your lineups. You know, you set the lineups you want to set. You can ask us the questions. We'll answer the questions 24/7. You know, we just want to give you guys advice, but at the end of the day, you set the lineups because you're the one who's going to win or lose, not us.
Exactly.
All right. MOBA says, what are your thoughts on Noah Brown and Demario Douglas if they play this week? A lot of buys for me, and I may end up playing them. Or should I pick up Mingo, Dobbs, P. Ryan, or A.T. Perry?
No, I'm still starting Noah Brown or Pop Douglas over any of those options. So
I agree. Go to my most popular video. Says, all my players are getting injured, and I'm getting unlucky. Aaron Jones and Goddard and Chubb are out. I'm really desperate at wide receiver. And Jigba or Rondell Moore this week?
Go get some JSN.
I would also go with Jackson. EA says it's also sorry to hear that you're getting all the injuries. I have a team too.
Yeah.
I have a team too that had I started off the season. My starting lineup was like Mike Williams, Nick Chubb, and somebody else, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Joe Burrow. So it was Joe Burrow. I was dealing with that crap that he was playing through, and then I lost Mike Williams and Nick Chubb like immediately, and it was like, dude, what is going on?
This
Somehow,
is just a great.
Still in first place.
That's incredible. But this is just a great reminder. You know, like we always like to get the injury discount, like Cup, JT, like coming into the season. Like, no, next year I'm only drafting healthy players. I say that every year, and then the value falls, and I'm like, crap. Like I can take the risk. No, never again. Never again.
I do not like taking risk on players inside of my first 3 or 4 rounds. I like to really get blue chip safe, you know, talking from a stock perspective. I like those blue chip safe stocks, the Apples, the Amazons. We know they're good stocks. We know they're not losing money. Like those are the ones that I want in my first couple picks. I don't want to gamble on a Bitcoin in the first round. That's not what I want to do.
No.
Sorry, that was random like stock market talk right there. Not a start sit, but how do you feel about Jets defense and week 17 and Browns? Or dude, what did I just let me restart this. Not a start sit, but how do you feel about the Jets defense week 17 at the Browns or the Niners at Washington or Eagles versus Cardinals?
Yeah, I feel like the issue is like the 49ers will have locked up their first seed, so I don't know how many of their players are going to be playing in week 17. So I would probably lean with the Jets defense, honestly.
I do like the Jets defense in that matchup. I don't mind Eagles or Cardinals. I don't mind it either. But again, that's another situation where they could be resting starters at that point. So I think the Browns is the correct, or the Jets is the correct answer.
Appreciate you. Yeah.
Mark says, are you worried about Mostert sitting out of practice today with a knee and A-Chain coming back?
I mean, yeah, I'm concerned about Mostert's like upside rest of the season, but at the same time, like he's probably just resting. It could just be a rest day or anything. Like these running backs, I mean, at this point in the season, they've been taking hits all year.
Wednesdays are typically rest days for veterans, so that typically is a thing. So I don't take too much out of the Mostert sitting out of practice today. But Mostert is always hurt, so that is something too to monitor, I guess. Mark says Brees is also dealing with a hamstring.
Yeah, he popped up, but I'm not that concerned about Brees.
Recon, LOL, guys, the Bears and Ravens are on bye this week. We'll start Nico, Puka, Stafford, and I have Fields and DJ Moore stack.
Oh, I guess I totally blanked on that. On the Justin Fields.
We did say this.
Yeah,
we did say to start Fields, huh?
But I was more concerned about the running backs and wide receivers, so I just totally breezed over that. So, but yes, yeah, looks like you're starting.
Yeah, and DJ Moore stack. Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Recon. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
we're over here giving solid advice.
Thanks for calling us out, dude. Yeah, it's frustrating watching the Jets. Mine was non-PPR. Okay, so non-PPR. Does that change your opinion on the Njigba versus Rondell?
Still on Njigba.
I agree. Need JJ back. I need JJ back, man. My
Same.
Minnesota Vikings need JJ back. Hulk says pick 2, Moss, Garrett Wilson, Deontay, Achan, or Javante.
I think I'm going Moss and Achan.
Moss and Achan. I think for me, I'm going Achan. I probably will go Moss too.
Who are you comparing him
Like
against?
Javante.
Nah, you still got to go Zach Moss.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. Well, if no one tuned into my my tier video today, I have Zach Moss quite a bit higher.
just
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spots higher than Javante.
I have Javante. I'm just looking at my rankings right now, and he says it's PPR. So I have Javante as my running back 18. I have Moss as my running back 20. But I can't say that I'm super confident in my ranking with Moss right now, just because it's still fresh.
Yeah.
But I do like Javante this week. I think for me, I think I would go Achan and Javante. I think that's really what I want to do. But you said you want to go Moss. I think you could go either way. Both of them are close in my rankings, so I don't really mind if you go either way.
Appreciate you, Red Hawk. Appreciate you being here.
Yep. Recon says my first 5 picks were Jay Jettas, Mahomes, Jones, Waller, and DJ Moore. Only DJ Moore was a hit, and if it weren't for this channel, I would be doing the loser dare for the year.
Recon, you better put in what that loser dare was, because I just want to we'll put that somewhere. I hope.
Do any of your leagues do that?
There was one that did a miniature waterboarding where you would go and they'd pull out a hose and it was a dynasty. It's a dynasty league with some buddies. So
heck?
Yeah, but we actually cut it out after 3 years. So other than that, which I never had to experience but got to witness, no, nothing crazy.
Yeah, you're gonna have to sign waivers to join that league in the future. It's gonna be a liability. We do one in my redraft league. It's a home redraft league I've been playing in for years. Last place every year. Have you ever seen Ace Ventura: Pet Detective?
No.
So he goes to some psych ward. It's not really a psych ward. It's the best way to describe it as a psych ward in it. But it's he wears this tutu and a floral shirt and some other stuff. And it's we make the loser dress as Ace Ventura from Pet Detective. So he shows up to our live draft in a tutu, a floral shirt.
That's hilarious.
And, he has to hang out the whole draft looking like Ace Ventura. So we started doing that a couple years back. It's been fun. Luckily, I've never had to wear the tutu.
Yeah, shout out to you.
I just bought the tutu, unfortunately, because I'm the commissioner, so I had to pay for it. Bryce says, do I start Brian Robinson or Charbonnet? And then Thielen or Deontay?
Yeah, so assuming Kenneth Walker doesn't play, I would start Charbonnet over Brian Robinson. I think Brian Robinson, the matchup's kind of hard for him this week, and I don't think the touchdowns are going to be there. And then I will be going Adam Thielen over Deontay for the flex price.
Yeah, I go with Zach Charbonnet, and I go with Thielen. So those are mine as well. Flex Nico or Pacheco?
In standard, I'll go with Pacheco.
I do too. We're agreeing a lot tonight, Caleb.
Yeah, we are.
I feel like we usually don't always agree this much, but I feel like tonight we are. Ski BD says 7-5 PPR. Have Purdy, Bijan, Rashad White, CD, Olave, Laporta, Moss. Benches Jay Jettas, Garrett Wilson, McBride, Achan, and Warren. How does my team look, and do you think that I can make the playoffs? 7-5. I think you're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think knowing that you have just Jefferson hopefully coming back makes me feel a lot better about this team. You got the high-end wide receivers and the running backs.
He's activated. He's going to be playing in week 14. It's guaranteed. Yeah. So Justin should be back next week, and I assume if he's playing football, he's in your starting lineup. That's just the way it's going to be with Justin Jefferson until he gives you a reason to not put him there. But I just don't think that that's going to happen. I mean, we've seen Jordan Addison be a good fantasy football asset most weeks. It's going to be interesting, though. Who's going to be playing quarterback? I don't know, because I could go on a whole tangent about what I just watched on Thursday Night Football, because that was some trash football that I watched on Thursday night.
The hardest thing with this team is going to be the choosing which
Monday night.
Oh, yeah.
It was Monday. I said
Monday
Thursday
night. No, you're good. The hardest thing about this team is choosing the running backs to start each week. Like once Devon comes back fully healthy, and you got Zach Moss, so it's gonna be some hard decisions.
Yeah, and I love Rashad White down the stretch too.
Yeah.
Hulk says pick 2. Oh, we answered this
We
one.
already answered. Yeah.
Yep. Recon says trading helped a lot from this channel. Also, is moving Mixon and Fields for Allen worth it? If I can pull it off in the
Yes.
first place. How do you feel
Yes.
about Mixon and Jones?
If you
I think it continues. It says, how do you feel about Mixon and Jones? I've been seeing a lot of trade videos or trade away videos on Mixon and Jones as of recently, but I looked at the Bengals game last week and they never ran the ball through Mixon, so I still have big hopes. I'll be honest. So I have both of these guys in different leagues. I have a lot of exposure to Joe Mixon this year. I tried trading him everywhere. I had him at the deadline. Like I tried getting rid of Joe Mixon everywhere. I could not get a good deal for Joe Mixon. Nobody was willing to give me anything. So unfortunately, I will be riding with Joe Mixon the rest of the way. So it's probably not what you want to hear. And it's probably what a lot of that is echoing what you've heard from those other videos that you talked about. But I just do not like Joe Mixon down the stretch. I don't like the offense. I don't like, it's just a lot of what Joe Mixon does for you is he scores you big weeks when he gets in the end zone. I don't know how many red zone opportunities you guys are going to have in Cincinnati. So it's unfortunate. I don't love Mixon and Jones down the stretch. That's really the short of what I'm saying.
That's why I feel like you replace Jones, Mixon in this trade. Like, I don't care. Give me Josh Allen.
Yep, Josh Allen for sure. Matt says, what are your thoughts on Zach Moss? How do we feel about Zach Moss? You said he's the low end running back 1 down the stretch.
Yeah, I have him as RB11 rest of the season, and I guess rest of the season, assuming Jonathan Taylor doesn't come back by any time in the fantasy world. He says, and I know Matt's added on like second comment, he got Zach Moss at the flex. So, I mean, I like Zach Moss. I think he's going to be like a RB10 to RB12 down the stretch. I mean, just based on the usage without Jonathan Taylor, I think that's exactly where he goes right back to. And honestly, this Colts offense, for all it is, like it's actually improved over these last few weeks, especially with Josh Downs, Michael Pittman Jr. Like, I know Gardner Minshew's nothing to be super excited about, but I still think that still benefits and goes well for Zach Moss as they are continuing to try to push for a playoff spot. Like they're not going to be, I don't know, they're not going to be messing around. Like they're going out to win each and every week, and I think that benefits Zach Moss, especially in like the red zone.
Yeah, and his upcoming schedule is pretty good. I mean, it's part of the reason why we all liked JT. He gets Tennessee this week, which is very middle of the pack. It's a very average defense. It's not good. It's not bad. But then after that, he's going to get Cincinnati. He's going to get Pittsburgh. Both of those guys, or both of those teams, are giving up about 20 points a game to the running back positions. So Moss should have it to himself in those 2 games. And so if they're giving up about 20 points a week, I mean, that majority of that's probably going to go to Moss.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, Brandon says full PPR, pick a wide receiver and 2 flexes: Chase, Puka, Nico, Brees, Najee. I like the Najee Arizona matchup, but I'm also a Steelers fan.
Yeah, I think if I had to pick, so you pick a wide receiver. I mean, you're probably going with, we said, like Nico. And then flex wise, I still think I'm going Brees, and I still think you got to throw Chase in there. I know it's terrible, but the upside's still there. So I'd do Brees and Chase and Puka or Nico. Sorry.
Yeah, and I know you said you like Najee, and the matchup's fine. But I think some of these options are better. I think Brees, Nico. I don't even mind if you throw Puka in over Chase, honestly, but I think it's got to be Chase or Puka. It can't be Najee for me.
Also, Brendan, I appreciate you liking my Spotify Wrapped Instagram story today. You're like one of the only people, so shout out to you.
There you go. Speaking of which, who is number 1 for you?
Who was number 1 for me? It's a rapper called Holvey, and then number 2. Guess who number 2 was? This would be like from us in high school, or I guess even junior high. Like it's a band. They broke up for a little bit, came back together. Weird, dude. I was jamming the Jonas Brothers album all
Jonas
summer.
Brothers.
Yeah, bro. I'm not even like, I don't know. I laughed when I saw it. I was like, I can't believe that Jonas Brothers, but shout out to Waffle House, man. That was my jam this summer.
All right, man. I mean, my number 1 was Drake. But if you ask my wife, she's going to say that's no surprise. Number 2 for me was, who was it? It was, I just looked at it. It was like, I think it was Russ. Do you know who Russ
Oh
is?
yeah, of course I know who
Yeah.
Russ is. Are you kidding
So
me?
his Santiago album was my number one played album of the year. So yeah,
Fine.
man.
The money
Those
make
are my
me
two.
handsomer, you know?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, man. So would you start Goddard or T. Higgins coming off the injury?
I would do T. Higgins.
I
It's
do too, but
nasty.
I don't feel comfortable really with either of these options.
No, neither do I. But Nate, I would go T. Higgins. Shout out
Trick
Tricks.
says, "What up, guys?
I didn't
Happy
even see this
Spotify."
comment when I
I
started
didn't
talking about it.
either.
Shout out to you, Tricks.
And you know what? I do have to give some full disclosure. Mine was the Apple Replay, but I'm not a
Stop.
Spotify. I got all the Apple stuff. I'm sorry, man. I got the Apple. I'm not gonna apologize for being Apple. What do I look like apologizing for my preference of music? Uh, just own it, Andrew. I was saying last week. All right, should I start Zach Moss or Michael Pittman?
I'd be going Zach Moss.
I go Moss too. What's up, guys? Got a question? Nico or Deontay?
Nico for me, little Nico.
Nico for me too, little Nico. Reed, Noah, Puka, or Elijah Moore? Puka.
Puka. Appreciate you, Tricks.
Clinkadink says trade away Smith for James Cook and Zay. Looking for a little bit more depth. I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't. I think Devontae Smith, like high end wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 1. So Zay's like a middling wide receiver 2, and you get James Cook, which hasn't been great, but gives you some depth.
Yeah, if you need the depth, fine. I don't mind it. MOBA says flexing team for playoffs. Half point PPR 10-man double flex. After working my ass off in the trade room, I have Josh Allen, Kamara, Jacobs, Tyreek, CD, Kincaid, Devontae, Ramondre, also Keaton. Yeah, good job winning your championship this week, MOBA.
Yeah, that'll be fun as all the other teams try to fight you, especially with your depth. Like even if something happens to like Ramondre, you're like, you got Keaton Mitchell in there. So good trade.
Dude, I made a trade in my redraft league this week, and it caused so much uproar that they reversed it.
Oh,
like
crap.
It was the trade was reversed.
But was there veto power, or was it just like people were like up in arms?
Just up in arms. Like,
sheesh. Dude's
talking about quitting the league. Dude's talking about doing us all this. I said, you know what? It ain't even worth it to me. Reverse that thing. I don't care. And they said it was so lopsided that it was egregious. It looked like the guy was quitting or whatever. You tell me what you think, because I thought that this deal was normal. He is on the fringe of making playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So context is important here. He's on the fringe of making playoffs. He had Stephon Diggs and Josh Jacobs this week, both of those guys on buys. Right. He has to win to get in.
Yeah.
So he says, these guys are on the trade block. I'm looking for some pieces that I can plug and play. So I said, okay, I am the number 2 seed in the league. I can afford to take on some bye weeks. So you give me Jacobs, you give me Diggs. I will take on the bye weeks.
Yeah.
I will give you Rashad White. I will give you Brandon Ayuk. And I will give you Christian Watson.
Oh.
And it's 3 for 2.
Well, and to be honest, Rashad White, technically, most people should have him ranked above Josh Jacobs. So
I have Rashad White.
That's what I'm saying.
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, so you lost that part, and then really Diggs and Ayuk are so close, like that's probably a wash. And
I just took Ayuk and Christian Watson, said I'll upgrade to Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, which even that's like
they lost it. They lost their minds, and I understand why they lost their minds, because when I set my lineup right after the trade, it was Justin Herbert, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, AJ Brown, Stephon Diggs, Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta, and I was like, dude, I'm going to win a chip right now. That's the move that's gonna. They lost their minds. I said it's not even worth it to me, guys. This league isn't. The buy-in's not big enough. The pot's not big enough. It doesn't matter to me. It's just homies from high school. I don't care, bro. I played this league. This is my only redraft league. I play it for fun. I do not care enough to have this uproar. So just reverse the thing. I don't care.
I think it's fine. I think, to be honest, you get the better running back, or you still have the best running back. And I mean, Ayuk's been playing better than Diggs, so whatever.
I told him the funny thing is, watch, I'm still going to win the championship, and it's going to be with this group of people.
Easily.
So anyways, hashtag Madison stock. Is that an inside joke on your channel?
No, I'm kind of confused. Unless we're talking about Madison, with your
Alexander
Madison. Yeah.
Stock down.
Stock down.
What do you think about the Tampa defense as a streaming option against the Panthers? Fine stream. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't score a lot of points. Panthers don't score a lot of points.
No, I have them as top 10 defense this week, so would be a good option if they're
Yeah,
available.
I don't know where they are for me, but I would assume top 10 as well. Sher says my rivals are tuning in as well. I just wanted to tell Nas and Pomp I'm coming for you. Hey, Sher's coming for you, bro.
I love when you guys share the channel and you guys are tuning in. But yeah, shout out to the inner rivalry. If you guys send some super chats, we'll give the Ron advice. So just so you know.
I'm going to crush this guy. I love it. I love the energy. One flex, PPR, Rice, Downs, Warren, or Mostert, and Love or Mayfield is the second question, I think. So
Yeah,
for me,
Downs.
I'm going to go with.
Yeah. Sorry.
You're going Downs over Mostert?
Oh, wait. Sorry. No. I'm going
flex.
Mostert. Sorry. I saw Rice, Downs, Warren, and I was choosing between those three or Mostert. I didn't see. So I'll be going Mostert. Yeah, 100%.
Mostert and then Love.
And then Love. Yeah. No, Andre's on Andrew's side here.
All right. I'm playing Sure this week, and I need a wide receiver 3. Is it safe to start Noah Brown, or should I pick up a receiver off of waivers?
Okay.
But I also think it's hilarious that he is going Browning.
I love the inner rivalry that's happening here. I don't know what the wide receivers are off waivers. I mean, Noah Brown's definitely a fine option. Of course, his value's gone down with Nico Collins coming back. But yeah,
I'd love to see the waiver wire.
Yeah,
honestly.
give us some options, and we'll.
Yeah, if you have some options, I'd like to see, because there might be better options on your waiver wire.
Yeah.
Tingley says, "Hey yo, how do you feel about Fields' rest of season schedule? Dude's just so volatile."
He is, but I mean, if you don't have any better options, he's a Konami code quarterback, and they're gonna have to start him. I don't think they're gonna bench him for Tyson.
Hell no.
And I think honestly, if you had to Andrew, if you had to take Justin Herbert or Justin Fields rest of the season, who would you take?
Herbert.
I think it's a discussion. So that's why I think it is. But at this point, I mean, I'd probably take Herbert too. I was just trying to get your thoughts on it. But yeah, I like Justin Fields rest of the season, top 10 quarterback for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind him the rest of the season. But I would love to hear your thoughts. This is gonna dip into a dynasty question, so I apologize. But I would love to hear your thoughts on how safe do you think Justin Fields' job is in Chicago right now?
Not very safe. But I think at the end of the day, though,
on a scale of 1 to 10,
5,
10 being the most likely chance of being replaced, and 1 being the least likely chance of being replaced.
Probably like a 6 or a 7. I think he probably loses his job, but I think he gets traded somewhere. So I think he'll end up being a starter next year anyway. So
I'd love to see him go to Atlanta. Atlanta. He's from Georgia. I'd love to see him go to Atlanta.
I think that would be a great spot.
Achan is the next CJ Spiller.
Hope so. Even better. I think he should be better
Javonte or
than
Connor.
I'll be going Javonte.
Sorry, hold on. I just got a call and just shot my eardrums out. You can hear me still fine?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. Wanted to make sure, because that just messed with my headphones. What did you say, Javonte or Connor? I didn't hear that one.
I went to Javonte.
I will go Javonte as well. Recon says, so I go to Purdue for aerospace engineering, and in front of the Neil Armstrong statue, the loser has to wear a wrestler thong type outfit and has to pour milk all over themselves.
Wow, that's amazing. Also, shout out Recon. We live like an hour and a half away. I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana, so we kind of live close. But that's awesome. Take a picture. Nice. Send it to me.
There you go. Jacob says, I traded away CeeDee Lamb and Aaron Jones for AJ Brown and Jerome Ford. What do you think?
Good trade. I mean, I have Aaron Jones, Jerome Ford super close. I almost prefer Jerome Ford rest of the season over Aaron Jones at this point, and then AJ Brown over CeeDee Lamb, even though both are incredible wide receivers, both top 3.
I think it's as fair as it can get. I don't know if I prefer either side. I think it's that fair that you just pick and choose your guys at that point. Tingley says full PBR, flex, Puka, Pacheco, or Moss. Also got Achan.
Yeah, I think I go Zach Moss.
Okay, I think I go Puka. I have Puka as a top 12 wide receiver. I don't have Moss top 12.
I really wanted to say Puka, but I keep getting burned, and so it's like I
It's
know Zach Moss
scary.
and it's a scary upside play. So technically, like if you want the upside, go with Puka, but I feel like Zach Moss has both, so that's kind of why I went that way.
Fair enough. Nasir says, I have Javante, but I am losing faith. Why are you high on him this week?
I mean, high is a relative term. I have him in my D tier, so it's nothing crazy. Like I have him in the same range as Joe Mixon, Zach Charbonnet / Kenneth Walker, whichever one plays, and Ramondre.
How far down is that, like number wise?
One.
I have Javante as running back 18.
Yeah, actually, I have him as 19, so we're like right on par.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have him right there. I think the matchup's fine. Nothing to worry me about it. I think the usage has been fine. The unfortunate part is he hasn't really just fallen into the end zone. I think that's really the thing with Javante is he hasn't scored. And if he gets in the end zone, all of a sudden these couple weeks that have been meh, they look good. So he's going to be due eventually. It's just the usage is still there. You chase the volume. That's really the play there.
Yeah.
JJ Wilson Jr. is going under the radar.
I love the second Stop. I love it. I love it. Oh goodness.
All right, Dobbs with the heart. Look, man, don't get me started on Josh Dobbs. Story's great. Honestly, as a Vikings fan, I want Jaren at quarterback in week 14.
Yeah, same. The Linsanity story was great for him, but now it's time to get to reality.
Yeah, I tweeted 2 weeks ago or something like that. It was I think you liked it, Caleb. It was I put Josh Dobbs, the pastronaut, lost in space, and it was like a floating astronaut out in the middle of space. And it seems like since then this dude's been lost, man. Like it just has looked horrible. It was fun for a game, and he even almost made the comeback in last week's game. And maybe if they win, you feel differently about it. But I think the reality of it is 98% of the game, it looked shitty. It looked so bad. I mean, 4 interceptions. It was 3-and-out central. It looked so bad. He looked lost. Anyways, I just want to see Jaren look good. I know he only had 1 drive, but he looked good, and he's young, and he's on a rookie contract. So let's just see what Jaren's got. We don't got anything to lose.
Yeah, I think this is my thing. I think at this point you should have never taught him the playbook. Should have just kept having O'Connell read him the plays, explain. Like I think when he learned the playbook, he got too smart and all of a sudden was overthinking everything.
Yeah, I need to do like a Vikings podcast, man. That would be fun. But Luke says 12-team standard PPR trying to secure the bye, thin at running back with Bijan and Warren. Who should I start at wide receiver flex? Keenan, Devontae Smith, Collins, Rasheed, Christian Kirk. So pick one of these guys.
You're going to be starting Keenan. Well, he's starting at wide receiver. And then between the other options, I would go Devontae Smith.
Who should I start at wide receiver? Oh, he's starting Keenan at wide receiver is what you were saying. I thought you were saying he already told. Okay, yeah, you're starting Keenan. And then I think Devontae Smith is a good play. Or Nico Collins, either one. Don't mind either. Jacob says, I tried it, or I traded. There we go. We already saw that one. Cool. Matt says, I'm on Apple too. Had 50,000 minutes. Holy hell, Matt.
Matt's appreciate you. 50,000, that's a ton. Hopefully just a portion of that's this YouTube channel that you listen to. So
no, that's the music app.
No. That's what I'm saying. That's a music app. So like maybe next year, only 45,000 minutes and then 5,000 minutes to the YouTube channel. We could work out a deal, Matt. Like, I mean, really.
Hold on. I'm doing the math on this thing.
Bro, he better be driving for his job, or working remote like us. Like, I don't know. That's insane.
Dude, I work remote and I've listened to the least amount of music I've ever listened to in my life. It is the 1 year I've worked from home. I don't know why. That is 833 hours worth of music this year. Hold on. Divided by 24 hours a day. Dude, listen to music for 34 days straight.
That's awesome.
Should I start Dak or Hurts?
I'd start Hurts this week.
I do too.
Appreciate you, Snack.
Jacob, I traded away CD. Oh, What do you think? I think we went through this one 3 times now, huh?
Yeah, it's a good trade.
It's a
Jacob,
fair
appreciate you
trade.
being here.
It's a fair trade. Tom says start Demario Douglas or Dortch.
Ooh, I mean, Dortch has been absolutely crushing it.
I kind of say Dortch.
I kind of lean
wanna
Dortch
go
too.
Dortch.
You know, we both are like go big or go home. I mean, there's no in between. Like it's either 13 to 14 fantasy points or it's 2. So just go Dortch. I agree.
Yeah, Dortch was on my waiver episode. It's 2 weeks in a row now where he's had 8 targets and 9 targets. So the targets are there for Dortch. I don't know. Maybe go Dortch. Victor says, hey man, so Tua sold my game last week. Needed 5 points. But this week, Tua or Kyler. And running backs Bijan, Kyron, Moss need 2. Have a good rest of the night.
Yeah.
My
So
first piece of advice would be do not hold last week against the players that you need to play this week. That is the first piece of advice. I know it hurts. It always hurts when a guy underperforms, but I never hold last week against them on the current week.
I'm going Tua, Bijan, Kyron.
I agree. I totally agree.
Appreciate it.
Lukey says, hey, what's good? Lots of injuries with Taylor, Olave, and maybe Raheem. Gonna have a lot of start sit questions.
Fire those
right.
bad boys in.
Nasir says, any upside for Panthers after Frank Reich firing?
No, 0. I mean, he was the whole entire offensive mastermind, and I know the offense sucked, but now we'll see what they're made of. Bryce Young didn't look good, so I don't think it's going to change. All of a sudden, Bryce Young's going to turn into like prime Drew Brees. Like, I don't think that's happening.
Are you like out on Bryce Young as a NFL prospect?
I think out-outs are like a far saying. I just think he was already an outlier to begin with, and he hasn't shown anything that he's gonna like. Meaning his profile, we haven't seen a quarterback like him actually produce at an NFL level besides like Kyler. But Kyler was also like super hyper athletic. So
it's like Kyler and Russell Wilson. Those are like the 2 that have ever done it.
And I think if you had him in Dynasty, like you're probably just gonna have to sell at a sunk cost. And in regards to like this season, I'm not excited for the Panthers at all.
Yeah, I was pretty high on Bryce, man. I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty high on Bryce this offseason. I talked a lot about how much I liked him. I'm not selling at this price. Like at this point, like I'm holding and we'll see what happens. But yeah, man, it's not looking good. But part of me still thinks there's brighter days, but we'll see what happens. It's going to come down to the coaching hire and some of the other stuff that happens there.
I had Anthony Richardson over CJ Stroud in and it kills me. I was the Ohio State buff that just couldn't do it to himself. I was like, everyone's going to call me biased, and I should have done it. I should have pulled the trigger.
I had CJ's QB3.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had CJ's QB3. But hey, we live and we learn, right? Jacob says, I traded. Oh my gosh.
Jacob, I appreciate you.
Jacob, it's awesome, man.
AJ Brown and Jerome Ford. You're fine. Good trade.
Lukey says, if everyone plays, who should I start for 2 wide receivers and 1 flex? Olave, Ayuk, Chase, Raheem, DK, Hollywood, or Ridley?
I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say that Olave is not going to play. I'm pretty confident on that one. But if I had to choose, I'm
playing Ayuk. I'm playing Chase,
and I'm playing Raheem.
Yeah, it's between him or Ridley, but I think I'd go Raheem. Kyle says Royce Freeman or Pirine, full PPR, pick one. Wow, this is deep.
Royce, give it to me.
Yeah, I'd say Royce too. Trick says if Madison can finish in the top 10, I'm getting multiple championships.
Tricks, I'm up rolling the dice, and we shall see where it lands.
All right, man. That's a lot of
not top 20. That I feel like top 20 is even spicy at this point, but top 10 is insane.
We got a lot of ground to make up over these last couple weeks.
Hey, the Vikings about to be putting up like serious points in this offense, so making you happy, Andrew.
Dude, I would love it. But I don't believe it. Fields, Stafford, Mixon, Jones, Kamara, DJ Puka. Assuming I'm only keeping Kamara, DJ, and J. is on this team, who do I realistically go for with Mixon, Jones, and one of the wide receiver packages?
I mean, the top players. You're just sending that bad boy out. Tyreek, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra, Keenan Allen, AJ Brown. Seeing if anything bites on that. And if you can't get that, then I don't know. Maybe you go.
Well, you want to get him a better running back, right? Like you want to, because he'd be trading Jones and Mixon.
Well, if you're going Mixon and Jones for a running back,
Because
maybe you
then
could.
he's gonna have Kamara and that's it. So you'd try and go for a running back. I mean, hell, try and buy low on Austin Eckler right now.
Yeah, I think Austin Eckler. You're probably not going to get Kyron after that day that he just had. I think Tony Pollard's an interesting one too. Rest of season. Maybe you could even get Bijan for that, but those are
Yeah,
some guys.
I
Just
think
go fire
Eckler's
those out of the way.
I think Eckler's the easy one. I just want to know who I should realistically get back. Yeah.
Mm.
Will Levis or Kenny Pickett for the playoffs?
Ugh, Will Levis.
Pickett. Pickett.
The first
I
time
don't want any of them.
I just had to go with my gut, and it was rough.
I know my gut said Pickett, and oh man, they both suck. They both suck. I think are Will Levis and Kenny Pickett the same person?
I think that might be, except I think one does have bigger hands.
One has bigger
but
hands. The other one has an obsession. Actually, no, because it's the same guy. I was gonna say the other one has obsession with mayonnaise in his coffee, but that's the same. That's the same guy. So one of them has small hands. Nasir says probably Elijah, Curtis Samuel, Tony, players like that are available. Would you go any of those guys over the Noah Brown? That's the question.
But then he said it Downs,
and then he
Jigba
says
and Boyd.
Downs and Jigba.
Oh, Downs. It's Downs. Go pick up Downs. 100%.
And I know
be sure to the waivers right now and go pick up Downs. Sure, let him get it.
I was gonna say they're in the chat. Lukey says, will Taylor be back for the playoffs? They said 2 to 3 weeks.
No.
So I have been seeing like 3 weeks is a very aggressive outlook, being very optimistic. I've seen anywhere between 3 and 5 is more likely realistic. And if it's 3 to 5, it's season's done for him.
Yeah, and especially for you, like you feel like, oh, he's gonna be back for the playoffs, but like what most playoffs start week 14, week 15. So even still, like what you get him for your semifinal matchup, you got to get there. Like,
and then do you feel confident throwing him in there right then?
I mean, because even if he's healthy, like we've said, we saw the splits. Like first week he's back, he only got 30% snap share. Zach Moss was still at 70%. So it's like,
right.
Well, I don't think anything's going to change for Zach Moss. So I think Zach Moss is the league winner here. Congratulations to anyone that has Zach Moss, because it's about to be a fun ride.
Hold on. There's one right after this that's nuts. South says, am I crazy? I'm benching Cup and Puka this week for Ridley and Moss. Thoughts? I don't think you're crazy for benching Cup. I probably would play Puka over Ridley.
I would too, but I know Ridley's on a heater, so it's sometimes hard to bench a guy like that. But yeah,
I'd probably play Puka over Moss too, but teach their own. Trick says, me personally, I'm pulling up on 300,000 minutes. I'm a music demon. Hold on, just
when we're all someday, we're all going to be in like our 70s and we're not going to be able to hear because we're deaf, because we're all blasting music through our earbuds all through our 20s and 30s. Like, holy crap. Tricks, that's impressive.
Hold on. I'm doing the math. Okay. So I can't remind me who it was at first who listened for 34 days straight.
Was that Matt's? No. I'm scrolling back through. Oh, Matt's. It was Matt's.
Matt's listened for 34 days straight. Well, Trix listened for 208 days straight. Trix, how is that even possible? Bro, there's 365 days in the year. Bro, you listened for more than half of the year you were listening to music?
But like, that's the thing. Like, he's got to be, there's no way. Like, he's up 24 hours. He had to put an extra 0 on that bad boy.
Bro, 300,000? More than half of the year you were listening to music?
When does he sleep? Like, he wakes up and he just instantly starts listening to music?
Okay, hold on. We're going off the rails right now. How many hours a day do you sleep? Probably 8. I mean, a healthy person sleeps 8 hours.
Let's say, even if he's not, like, let's say 6 hours a day. Like, still, it's not going to, the math's not adding up for me.
Okay. All right. I'm doing the math here. So we got 300,000 minutes. You divide that by 60 minutes. It's an hour, right? So we got 5,000 hours. So let's take out the 12 hours or the 8 hours a day that he's going to sleep. And then we'll divide the rest of that by the days. You have to, bro, you have to be listening to music like almost the entire time you're awake. Like it's got to be like 12 hours of your day you're listening to music.
Yeah, someone make it make
That's
sense.
crazy. Tricks, you know what? If you do listen to music that much, I'm gonna start putting my show on Spotify and
You
just
just
include me in some of that 300,000, man. Seems like you got time.
Yeah, it does seem like he's got time.
Aaron says, start 3, Lockett, Cup, Rasheed, Downs, Olave, if he clears protocol.
I'm going Cup. I mean, yeah, Olave's gonna be in it if he clears protocol, but I'll go Cup, Downs, and Rice.
I agree. Wow, they did Amendola dirty, misses the last second field goal and gets waived.
I mean, he was a
Life
free
of a
agent to
kicker.
begin with. Yeah, it's
Life of a
pressureful.
kicker. Your job is to make that kick. I mean, that's literally the only thing you do. If you don't do it, there's a bunch of other guys who will kick. Not that it's right, but I also have a pent up aggression in my life because I watched Blair Walsh ruin my life at one point. So, if that doesn't prove my Vikings fandom, Caleb, that I pull out a Blair Walsh reference,
Yeah.
I've been through it. I've been through it. You think Chase is going to produce still? Not exactly a touchdown machine this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be the wide receiver 2 or 3 this season by any means of the imagination rest of the season, but I still think you got to have him as a bottom end wide receiver 1 because even like this last week with Browning, like we said, like it wasn't great, but I still think he does better than what we saw with Garrett Wilson. Like it's not going to be that drastic of a downfall. And there were some things that even went wrong in this Bengals game as a Bengals fan that I was watching where I'm like, I could still see Jamar Chase having like a solid like wide receiver 9 to wide receiver 12 type finish.
Yeah, I agree. Recon says, is Mixon and Jones for Eckler too much? No, I don't think it's too much. And how do you guys feel about Puka and Nico? If I'm making trades, one dude has to go away as a trade. So who do you stick with through the playoffs?
I'm sticking with Puka.
I'm sticking with Puka too. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing. Lukey says, if Taylor is unlikely to come back, should I just drop him? Can't even put him on IR right now.
If you can hold out this week until we get more clarification, I feel like that's the move, Luke.
Yeah, I know roster space is a high commodity these days.
Unless there's like a
legit,
but I know he's in like an 8-man league, so like there might actually be some solid players on his waiver wire.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you got options down there, then there's a chance, but it's looking slim for Taylor this year. Sure says I waved Downs earlier today for Jeff Wilson Jr. Dude, how funny is this going to be when he picks up Downs? And then what if Downs goes off? And hopefully they're playing each other this week. I hope they're playing each other this week.
I think they are. I think that it sounded like they might be. So but I'm so sorry, sure. If I make you lose because whatever. Like it is what it is. Because I told Nasser to pick up Downs. Like I just appreciate that both you guys are here in the chat, hanging out. It means the world.
Trick says I sleep like 4 hours a day, but they said I was in the top 5% of listeners, not top 1. So it's folks listening to more somehow.
No, those have to be robots, like 100% Tricks. Like that you're that.
He was listening to music while sleeping.
You know what's crazy is Tricks is probably listening to something in his earbud as he's watching, like on his desktop or whatever. Like
Tricks sleeping like 4 hours a day, bro. Come on, man, get a couple more extra hours, bro.
I'm sure, like, dude, just 6 hours a day, it'll change your life.
Dude, try and find it. I slept 2 hours last night, not to my choice, but I'm feeling it right now. Long day on a short couple hours of sleep. Jacob says, my bad, y'all. I wanted to make sure I got your take. I do have another question. No, you're good, man. We definitely appreciate the questions coming in. So
yeah, Jacob.
Always are going to come in. We just go down in order. So if we haven't gotten down to yours yet, we're coming. We're just moving a little bit slow. But he said, I have another question. How do y'all feel about Breece Hall over Stevenson?
This week, Breece Hall. Rest of the season, Breece Hall.
Yeah, I like Stevenson though. I like both actually, rest of the way. But start Rashad or Bijan?
Bijan, Connor.
I go Bijan too.
Appreciate you, Connor.
Thoughts on Chase for next year? What do you think about Chase next year? I mean, he's going to be a top guy again.
Yeah, he'll like probably be a top 3 pick. Yeah, easily.
So, Tingley says start Nico or Metcalf. I go Nico.
Oh, goodness. I'm
Geno
actually
Smith
putting out my
sucks.
my rankings. Yeah, I go Nico too. I'm putting out my rankings tomorrow, but it's
Dude,
I don't know, dude. DK Metcalf. I was watching something today. I forget who was it talking about routes. Oh, it's an Ohio State podcast, but they were talking about DK Metcalf. How like he's like if you could build a wide receiver in the lab, it's DK Metcalf. But like the one thing he can't do is like actually be a wide receiver where he runs pristine routes, and that's like if he
yeah.
could put those two together, he'd be freaking Randy Moss. But he hasn't yet. So
Yeah. So I made a bet in my one of my dynasty leagues this offseason. We always are making bets against each other, everybody has conviction about a player in the offseason. So I always encourage people to put their money where their mouth is. Uh, I have a buddy who's a big Seahawks fan. He knows I'm a Vikings fan. Was talking so much trash about Kirk Cousins this offseason. And he in response, he pumped up Geno Smith a lot. Talked about how Geno and Kirk were not different. They were the same quarterback. They're just as good as each other. Da, da, da. I told him, I said, put your money where your mouth is, man. I want to see you bet some. So we bet $100. Who finishes with more fantasy football points on the season? There was an injury clause in this. If either guy misses more than 4 games, we can void the bet. We can void the bet. Kirk Cousins is still outscoring Geno Smith right now. He hasn't played football in
4
a
weeks.
month now?
Yeah, 4 weeks.
And he's still outscoring Geno.
Insane.
I'm like, I don't even know if I need to avoid this bet. I mean, the reality is in the next couple weeks, he will pass him. But
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you could have gave me a 5-6 game lead and I could have still beat you. But yeah, anyways, I thought it was funny. Would you start Ingram or McBride?
McBride.
I go McBride as well. Who do I start? Nico against PS2 or give Adam Thielen another chance, or third option, Josh Downs, who could also possibly drop Downs for Jaden Reed. No one picked him up yet. Full PPR. Help.
I'm going Nico.
I'm going Nico. Lukey says I was scared of starting Howell this week for Lamar, but then I remembered Lamar sucks.
Oh man. I mean, I still have Lamar as a top 5 quarterback rest of the way, but yeah, it's been absolutely abysmal here recently.
I had a buddy who was furious with Lamar at this last week. You know how in Sleeper you can like change the nicknames of the players?
Yeah.
He kept changing his nicknames to all these different stuff. Like he was just talking trash about Lamar Jackson, and he would just like re-nickname him all these different things. It was so funny because he needed he needed to win this week. Otherwise, he was like mathematically eliminated from playoffs.
Yeah.
And Lamar is the reason why he did not make it. So he just kept nicknaming him a whole bunch of funny stuff. Recon says, I may be asking too much, but can we brainstorm? What can I try to trade for in terms of packages? Jones, Mixon, Nico are going to be the guys that are going to be shipped. I can also put Fields in to go for Allen.
Yeah, I think like in terms of like we said, like with Jones or Mixon, like I would, if you could do, yeah, like let's say this. This is what I would do. Jones and Mixon, go for Eckler, go for Bijan, go for like Kyron Williams. I think those are some targets like to try to trade for those guys. Then I would try to pair Nico and Justin Fields to try to get to Allen.
Yeah, that's a good one. Or if you can go like Nico and Justin Fields, and honestly, if you can go Nico and Justin Fields and get to like a Dak, like I might even go and get Dak.
Yeah.
Maybe get a Tua. Maybe get a
go get a Lamar.
CJ Stroud. See if you can do any of that. That's probably something that I would do. But I really do think like my number one trade target for that Mixon Jones package would be to try and buy low on Eckler. Like that really is my number one target. Sherry says, I'm happy for him. I don't want any excuses. Long story about waivers, but short story is JJ's coming back.
Flex on him. Love it.
There you go. The Lamar disrespect is crazy.
It is. It is a little crazy, but I mean, he hasn't been performing up to par. So it is what it is.
Okay, look, I'm gonna say this, and I don't think this is a disrespectful take. I don't think this is a hot take either. I know that the Lamar fan club is a very big fan club, and it's a very passionate fan club. I just don't. I don't think Lamar is a top 5 quarterback. I don't. I think we've gotten to the point now, and I'm more so talking about kind of like a dynasty perspective, but like I cannot take Lamar over a Mahomes, an Allen, a Hurts. So there's 3. And then I really don't know, like, healthy. Am I taking Lamar over Burrow? I don't think so. Am I taking Lamar over Herbert? I probably personally am not. Do you take Lamar over Stroud at this point? I don't know.
I don't think you can.
So, like, I don't think he's a top 5 dynasty quarterback anymore. And I don't know. I mean, when healthy, I don't know. We'll see. I see we got Element in here. I love it. He's a dat guy. Tricks, easy for you to say when Lamar's been dropping duds more than good weeks. Jacob says it's in here. It's getting down to that time, man.
It is.
Jacob says I'm running with Jefferson, AJ Brown, and Amon Ra. Holy hell! Rest of the season, I have 3 running backs: Hall, White, and Stevenson to play around rest of the season.
Shout out to you, Jacob.
Jacob says that Kirk and Geno stat is hella crazy.
It is crazy bad.
It's nuts, dude. That like Kirk hasn't played football in a month and he's still outscoring Geno Smith. Yeah, it's bad. Lukey says Howell, Lamar this season. Yeah, Howell's been nice, man.
Yes.
6-6 PPR. Have Murray, White, Gibbs, Thielen, Moore, Kelsey, Moss, Reed, Cook, Johnson, JSN, Rice, Jones. This is the longest team I've ever read. Jones, Downs, also Cowboys D. Do you think I will make the playoffs?
Matt, it's an uphill battle at this point, bro.
6-6. That's tough, man.
Matt, I also don't know how far behind you are. Like, if you're like a game, you got a shot. If we're talking 2 games, I think 2 games is going to be a lot to try to catch up to get into this playoff bag. Like, you got to have a lot go right for your team and a lot go wrong for someone else's team to make the. So, but just because we can't see it, it's hard for me to say. But I think it's probably an uphill battle.
And you got Murray on bye next week. And I like the running backs, White and Gibbs, but it seems like you're pretty soft at the wide receiver position. I don't know. It's going to be tough. You got to make some moves, though, especially with Murray on bye next week.
Yeah.
Trick says, can't wait to see CJ as a top 10 QB pick next year.
He'll probably be top 7, top 6.
Dude, he's being valued right now. I mean, you know that like my thing is Dynasty. Like I'm tapped in there. This dude is being valued as a top 3 quarterback in Dynasty fantasy football right now.
That's crazy.
I think it's egregious. I think it's so crazy. He's being valued higher than Josh Allen.
That's what I was saying. I literally saw. I actually think it got bumped down. A keep trade cut. It actually bumped him down. It still hurts. He's QB4. I checked today because I'd been watching it for like the last week, and I was like, who the heck actually? Like, I will gladly trade CJ Stroud to go get Josh Allen. Like, give me that all day.
Every time. Doesn't matter. I will throw extra into my CJ Stroud to get Josh Allen.
Easily.
And then Element says, yo, what's up? Dak is the best QB in the league. Dak for MVP. Yes, sir. All right, we got too much Cowboys chat going here, guys. Do y'all know how Tyreek, Monty, and Tank got injuries out of nowhere? I really hope that they can play. I got them all on my team.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just, these soft tissues are flaring up at this time of year. I mean, it's been a long season, but I imagine Tyreek and Monty play for sure, and Tank's going to play. So
everybody was sitting down too long at, Thanksgiving break, too much food, sitting down. Yeah. Rough week to get back to work. Hey, I didn't do my job as good as I should have this week because I was half in it.
I've been doing my job on this YouTube channel. Y'all know I haven't posted as many videos, but we're gonna get back to it. So I appreciate all y'all.
Hey, it was a Thanksgiving break. We needed that.
Yeah, we did.
YouTube channel. YouTube channel says, and it's a tuba in the profile pic, right?
I love it. Yeah, it is.
Is that a tuba? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I better check this out later.
Just traded Garrett Wilson and Charbonnet and got Zach Moss and Addison. I need wins now because I don't want to come last and do a forfeit. Was that an all right move? Hey, is anything to not do the forfeits?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you're probably taking Jordan Addison over Garrett Wilson rest of the season. As much as even with Justin Jefferson coming back, you're probably buying low on where you're probably paying decent price for Jordan Addison.
Moss over Charbonnet rest of the way,
Zach
right?
Moss on over Charbonnet. Good. Yatuba. Great moves. I love your
Yatuba.
name too. I'm gonna check that
All
channel
right.
out later.
Javier says, "What do you think of my team? Goff, Kyler, Eckler, Bijan, Kyron, B. Rob, Connor, Moss, AJ Brown, Pittman, Dell, Douglas, Laporta, Kincaid." I think it's a good team.
I think it's a good team. Javier, I don't know where you're at standings wise, but I like
You got
that
a
you have
lot of running
Bijan,
backs.
Kyron, yeah. And wide receivers are okay too with AJ Brown leading the way. You got a high end wide receiver one. You got really great tight ends. I think you're fine. I think the only question would be your quarterback situation, but I think it should be fine with Kyler.
Yeah. I mean, if your trade deadline's still open, I don't know. He says he's 7-5.
7-5.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't even pull it up on the screen. But he says he's 7-5. If your trade deadline's still open, I might try and move one of those backs to go get another wide receiver. But that's the only thing.
You could also convince me on like going and flipping like Kincaid and Kyler to get a better quarterback too, low key.
Something like that. Yeah, I think you just got a lot of running back value, and I don't think you need it all. Matt says, how many minutes do you guys have on music?
Not that much, Matt. Not that much.
I think
mine was
this year
embarrassing, like embarrassingly low. I didn't listen to as much music this year, but I was also making a ton of YouTube content for all you guys. So
yeah, I told you that I listened to the least amount of music that I've listened to this year, just being at home. But
only 16,000 for me.
Oh, 16,000 for you.
Yeah. Is that more than you?
I was like,
same?
Yeah, I was at like 13,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
so
I
also pretty
also
close.
I feel like I had a lot of trips this year, so it is what it is. But
I travel for work, but usually when I travel for work, I listen to podcasts.
Technically podcasts count though on Spotify.
It doesn't count on Apple.
Maybe I should double check
because the music and the podcast app are separate on the Apple.
Oh yeah, that's true. But yeah, I listen to a few podcasts, not as much, so it's probably mostly music, but that is what it is.
Yeah. Where were we at? Oh, sure. Anyone else still plan on eating Thanksgiving leftovers in January?
Nah, dude, man. I ain't a leftovers guy, man. So
my wife and I said tonight, we were like, dude, this is the last day that we're eating this, and then we're throwing this all away.
See, that's my thing. I feel like I've never been big into yes, like the day after that's cool, but it's like when you're like, but whatever, you're still eating turkey sandwiches this week with Hawaiian rolls. You're like, what the heck? No,
I've had so many turkey sandwiches, and that's why my wife and I, we said tonight's the last night. We're done.
There's only so much you can make,
yeah.
And anyway, whenever I'm running the show for Thanksgiving, my whole family hates turkey, so I'm like, screw it. We're doing some ribeyes on the grill. Like, I'm done with this whole tradition with turkey.
Who even made that up?
I don't know. Make me a hamburger. I'd prefer that more. Maybe I'm just.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut off your Thanksgiving rant.
Keep going.
Jaden Reed or Christian Watson?
I'll go Jaden Reed. Oh, snap.
A disagreement again. I go Christian Watson. I think he has higher upside.
Element, you decide. It's so close for me. Like
Lamar and Eckler or Hurts and Gibbs. What side are you taking?
Hurts and Gibbs.
I do too. 9-4 after this week. Javier says, sadly, it's not. Is that past the trade deadline? Sadly, it's not past the trade deadline, or sadly, it is past the trade deadline?
Sadly, it's not probably means it is. So he's riding with the team.
Fair enough. That's fine, though. It's a good team. Who should I start? Schultz or Pat Freiermuth? Pat Freiermouth. I don't know how to spell his name.
I have Dalton Schultz over Pat, but just for this week. I like Pat rest of the season, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. Nathan says, I don't blame you. AKA says, yo, welcome back. Need your help. Thank you for welcoming me back. Thank you. Yeah. Need your help. I am in a dire win situation because Diggs and Saquon are on bye. Do I start Godwin, Downs, or Jaden Reed? Ooh. Downs.
I think you go Downs. I mean, Chris Godwin does have a good matchup, and I think a lot of people will tell you to start Chris Godwin over Downs, but
I like Downs this week.
I think you gotta go Downs, especially against Tennessee. Tennessee, their whole secondary sucks. So give me Downs.
Yep. Man. Wolfman says 6-man league need a running back 2 and flex. Got DJ, Devontae Smith, Puka, Monty, Henry, Pacheco, Moss.
Think you go Henry. And then it's between Monty and Devontae Smith for me. I think you go Henry and Monty. If I had to gun to my head. It's a good team though, Wolf, especially in a 6 man.
I think I go Monty and Devontae Smith.
You're throwing out Henry versus the Colts?
I don't know. Let me check my rankings.
This is a hard question, but I just Derrick Henry, man. He's a top 12 play for me this week. That's why I'm asking.
No, look, see, I knew my gut was right. In my rankings, I have these are flex rankings. I have Devontae Smith as the 15th best play this week as a flex. Derrick Henry is the 16th best play as a flex. I have Devontae Smith just a little bit
Even
higher
against
than
San Francisco.
Their secondary is not that good. Their pass rush is really good, but the secondary is not that good. Plus, they're going to key in more on AJ Brown, I think. But anyways, he says also JT. Well, we're not playing JT. YouTuber says, unfortunately, I have no videos at this point. Don't have much time with college. It's all good, man.
It's all good. I appreciate you being here, though. You got a cool channel name.
Element says, I got 880 minutes on just J. Cole. Well, I can tell you, I have 2,780 minutes on Drake. So I got so much Drake in my rotation. It's nuts.
How much money would you pay, like contribute, if you knew that J. Cole and Drake would do a collab album?
Like a whole collab album?
Like a whole collab album. Not just first person shooter or a new song together every 5 years. Like let's get a 12 joints together. And
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'd contribute any money. To be honest, I don't know if I care about hearing Cole and Drake together that much. I mean, I like both of them, obviously, but I don't know if I'd pay any money. I mean, what? I'll give you $5. What you want?
Yeah.
But they just did another one together. It was on the Scary Hours version of the Evil Ways or something.
I need that freaking Drake Lil Uzi verse on. I'm so pissed at Lil Yachty for not letting it get dropped.
Music and podcasts are separate in Spotify. I had 2 separate stats for them in my Wrapped. Okay, there you go. There's your answer. Turkey's overrated. I agree. Down with Turkey. Everybody hates Turkey. I had 1,000 minutes on JID. Jid's good. Jid is good for real. I'm a fan of that Dreamville collab. Jid is cool. Yeah.
We're about to start a music channel.
Dude, we need to do
music, like maybe when we get enough interest.
Element says I could discuss music for hours. Me too. I got an unbelievable amount of plays from J. Cole album For Your Eyes Only, one of the greatest albums. And then I had 1,500 minutes on Travis Scott. All right, so now that all the music stuff is there, how about any buy lows this week? This is our last week for trades. My opponent's assembling the Avengers as he's battling for the last playoff spot.
Oh man, I regret not making a buy low video this week. Honestly, I should have. But a lot of you said you didn't. Your trade deadlines were passed, so that's on all you guys. But in regards to, I mean, I think we talked like Austin Eckler is a good target. I think Brees would be a good target too. He's gotten cheaper that I still think has upside. In regards to like wide receivers, I think Devontae Smith would be an interesting one. I think Puka is another interesting buy low.
Here's
Devontae Adams too.
Yeah, I'll give you a list. I mean, I did a video. If you want to check it out, go over to the League FFB. It's called League Winners with perfect playoff schedules. Those guys are all guys that I would suggest for this is players that I think you should trade for that could help you win your league. Just a quick list of this is Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Josh Jacobs, DeAndre Swift, Bijan Robinson, DK Metcalf, Hollywood Brown, Cortland Sutton, David Njoku, Pat Frymuth. Those are the guys. If you want, in-depth analysis on each of those and those matchups that come in with those, go check out the video. But that's kind of the guys that I'd be looking at. Let's see. We got 2,000 minutes on Zach Bryan. Country and rap does not mix, honestly. Hey, Lil Nas X said it did. What was that song?
Country Road or Old Town Road?
Old Town Road. Yeah, dude, that was like, I feel like that was so many years ago. How long ago was that?
That would have been at least, I was in college, so
Like
that would have been at least
2019?
2019, 2020. That was a banger though, especially when it got Billy Ray Cyrus on it.
Dude,
The
I
remix.
feel like I'm getting so much older, bro. I
Yeah.
feel like these years are just flying away.
I look back.
Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
no. I was like thinking today, like, what was uh, what was the album before Scorpion for Drake? That was like, I felt like with Free Smoke and
Before, oh,
I'm trying to remember the name. I only see the album. Had like
I
James on
see.
Two Thumbs. Yeah. Anyway, I felt like that album, like I remember listening to it, be like, man, that changed my life musically. And then now I'm like, that was like a decade ago.
Are talking about
We need to get to John's question. John, we'll get to it. More life. That was it. Sorry.
more life. There you go. Where's John's question? Is it this one?
No, 0.5
No,
PPR. It's above that. It's above that. It's right
oh,
under.
John.
Yeah.
John. Half point PPR, flex one between Mix and Charbonnet, Rasheed Rice. How y'all feeling about
Yeah.
A-Chain?
Yeah. So if I had to choose between these options, I would go with Joe Mixon over Zach Charbonnet. But I do like Devon. Like I would start Devon over all of these options. So
I agree.
Just depends on how risky you want to get.
Yep. Any changes to my team or trades? Tua, Sharp, Kamara, Tyreek, Devonta, Dell, Laporta, Christian Watson, Hunt, D'Ernest, James Cook, Rico, Chandler, DJ Moore, JSN.
I mean, we're really relying on Sharp as our RB2 here. I mean, I think that's my biggest thing. So if I can try to flip Sharp and like DJ Moore to go get an upgrade at running back, I think that's a move I'd be looking to do.
Yeah, the running back too is really sketchy. And then behind that, I mean, it's just like James Cook and D'Ernest Johnston and some stashes.
Yes.
So
yeah,
it's that I definitely agree. YouTuber says I traded away Brees Hall and Thielen for Kamara and Gabe Davis. I like Kamara's floor more, and I need that.
Major dub.
I like it. Jesus says I'm out of playoffs. Caleb, tell me something to make me feel better.
Man, that's rough. Well, first off, I appreciate tuning in to the live, even though you're out of the playoffs and hanging out. But yeah, hopefully you can join some Dynasty leagues. I know Andrew and I have discussed maybe starting something this offseason, but if you don't play Dynasty, it makes it year round. And even if your team sucks or you're out of the playoffs, like it gives you hope because you're always building your roster. So hopefully you can join us in that. If not, and you're going to be, slowly sliding out of the fantasy football landscape, like hopefully you can come back next year. And hopefully the channel's a lot bigger by then when you come back, which will be exciting.
Definitely will be a lot bigger. And catching all the content early in the preseason too. So we're prepped.
Yeah.
Lupus
Start tuning
says
in June. That's when it will happen, Jesus. June. Like you'll get everything going in August. You'll be ready to go.
Yep. Lupus says, would you start Josh Downs or Brandon Cooks? I'm going with Downs.
100% Lupus.
And Matt says, who do you have winning tomorrow?
I haven't really thought that far.
On who you have winning?
Yeah. I guess the Cowboys. It has to be the Cowboys. Easily. Shout out to Element.
Yeah. Shout out to Element. Yeah, I mean, what did I say earlier? Geno Smith sucks.
Does the real question is, does Tony Pollard score a touchdown? I mean, that's really the only interesting part of this game that we'll get to watch. So
I don't know. I mean, you want to know the odds right now? The odds on this are for an anytime touchdown for Tony Pollard are minus 160. It's pretty good odds. So apparently sportsbooks think he's going to fall in.
Find a way.
We'll see. Matt says he has the Cowboys too. YouTuber says doesn't matter where you finish as long as it's not dead last at the end of the day.
That's true, YouTuber.
Agree. Also, I do want to play for a championship though.
Exactly. Lupus
says, could CeeDee Lamb cook Witherspoon?
I mean, I think it will. Witherspoon, as much as Witherspoon's been not having great coverage days the last few weeks. I mean, he's been on some highlight reels, been getting twisted around. So you're going against CeeDee Lamb, the third best, second best fourth best wide receiver in the NFL. So
I'll tell you what, Tony Romo loves Witherspoon.
he does.
Loves Witherspoon. I feel like he can't stop talking about Witherspoon. And every time he talks about him, it's they got a new Legion of Boom.
I think they like to bring the old classes back. It's like the same way. Like they love to see the wide receiver on the Cowboys with the number 88, you know?
Yeah. That's my Tony Romo impression, by the way.
That was great. That was great.
It's decent, right?
I need to nail down Jim Lance Nance, and maybe we'll have our own little back and forth.
There you
we'll have
go.
here
All right, man. Well, it looks like we got to the end of this, so I think we'll wrap it up here. I mean, we said 10:30. It's 10:36, so right on time for the most part. But look, if you're tapping in on either channel, Caleb, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, if you're tapping in on Andrew's channel, come give us a look at Caleb Niemi on YouTube. And if you're tuning in on my channel, of course, go check out Andrew's channel. He's on the grind to 800 subs, but even more than that, he's on the grind to 1,000 subs. So if you like my content, you're definitely going to like Andrew's content. It's kind of hand in hand why we do this. We both like each other, and we both create really similar content. So highly suggest you go check out his stuff. Appreciate everyone for tuning in here tonight. If you need to ask us any start state questions, go back on one of our videos. We will gladly answer those whenever we get a moment to. So,
yep, absolutely. But with all that being said, man, keep your eyes out. I know Caleb's got some start sit videos coming out in the next couple days. Mine are coming out in the next couple days. And if you guys play pick'ems over on Underdog or anything, I do picks every Monday and Thursday night football. So keep an eye out for my Thursday night football picks over on my channel too. So all of that being said, we'll see you guys on our next one. Everybody's in here saying have a good night. Good night, gentlemen. Good night, guys. And you guys have a good night too. So we'll see you guys on the next one. But until then, peace out.
Peace out.